355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
Hello, everyone. LifeAdviceRR@gmail.com. We've got Wargon. We've got Kyle. How is everybody? I always like to check in on Tuesdays.
Well, I screwed up my jury duty last week, so I'm doing it again this week. Hoping to get it right this time. Luckily, the holiday made it a short week, so we'll check tomorrow and see if I got to go. Actually, we'll check tonight. That's how I got screwed up.
Is there a warrant for you or anything? Or we good?
I don't know, man. They're so tough in their letters and notifications they give you. I guess it's because it's one of those things that you got to bully people into doing. But I'm so tired of the red lettering telling me could be on the hook for a $1,600 fine. So we'll just try to get through it.
Fair. Wargon, any legal problems for you?
No legal problems. Still got my stone. Just counting down the days. Nothing new other than that, though.
Yeah, tough. I hate talking about it. One of my least favorite topics.
You got up and left last time.
I know. I don't know, man. But good to know that better days are coming. You know, kind of a bummer start to yeah. Okay, let's get to some emails here. This is a student-teacher basketball dilemma. Need some advice. I can't imagine a better way than you guys. I'm a teacher at a pre-K through sixth grade school. Every year on the last day of school, we have a sixth grade versus teacher basketball game. Okay, all right. So we're talking about sixth graders here. Age 11, 12. Maybe there's a 13-year-old that's, a little...
Just trying his best.
Got some facial hair, maybe.
There's like a birthday thing that kind of made it make sense. So it's really only 1 year. The whole school attends it. It's a lot of fun. I'm by far the best player, which is not saying much at all in my mind. This is a time to mess around, not really giving any intensity. I think your head is in the right place, sir, while also still winning. The issue is another teacher takes this way too seriously. I'm talking boxing out sixth graders and way too hard fouls. One time he even went for a charge, which would be the most embarrassing moment of my life to try that. He's also considered the strictest teacher in the school. All this to say this year's class is pretty talented. I'm also their coach. And if I don't try, they have a real chance to win. Part of me wants to not try and let these kids beat this other teacher because it would take him months to recover. What would you do? Look, I'm a very, very competitive person. Sometimes we talk about like competitiveness. This becomes this lore, like for you to be the all-time competitor, you have to like cheat at Monopoly against your grandmother. You could hear some Jordan story, like, he was 40 years old and he beat a 12-year-old in a boxing match. He just couldn't take it easy on him. It's like, oh, what an awesome man. I think you can be a really competitive person and also understand that you're actually kind of a loser if you're that competitive about this kind of thing. And I'm not saying that to our emailer at all. I'm saying it about the other guy. I mean, clearly the other guy, I do think like when you start to realize like older people, like this is something that I've talked about in the past a little bit. So there's a bit of a diatribe, but it's such an astonishing revelation in your life when you're a kid. And then whether or not your friends are still in your lives, I'm talking about like your childhood friends, right? Single digits, maybe not even like before high school, even high school could apply here too a little bit. And you have this idea of who your friends' parents are. And then whether you realize it right away, but I think a lot of us later on would be like, oh, so-and-so sucked. Like, he may not have been your favorite, but then you realize like, oh, that guy was just a total dork. But maybe you're a little too young to understand that. And then the other layer of this is that adults that are just miserable people to, especially kids, that's its own thing, but just kind of miserable in general. And people can, hey, maybe that guy's moody or, maybe he's predisposed to not being super happy anyway for a bunch of different reasons. Like we can get into that, but there's also like a general like understanding of there's just so much shit that hasn't worked out for this person that they've just decided to take it out on everybody else. And there's this just resentment that they have with them for the rest of their lives, and become somebody that nobody would want to hang out with. So it becomes a cycle of them just being the worst. And so if you have somebody who is, one, as you said, a really strict teacher, and then hard fouling on top of charges in any kind of game, I mean,
That's the craziest part of the season.
right. Like think of all that is baked into who this person has become. For him
What
to
subject
think like
do you think this guy
history.
teaches? I was
History
going
and
to
math.
social studies,
History
yeah.
was my one seed. If not, it would be math. But yeah, I think it's got to be 100% history, or a
Which is
strict gym
great.
teacher. I don't know. You don't see too many of those anymore. I think probably in the 70s and 80s there were more strict gym teachers. But I was going to say history probably.
Yeah, we had just out of
Loves the Civil
central
War.
casting.
Loves talking about it.
And it's crazy too, because history is a gift. You'd think you'd appreciate a life, learning about everything that has
I loved it.
created this world today. But yeah, but I don't know. It's funny that we both kind of said that instead of math. Maybe it's math, but I don't know. Something telling me that this is social studies. So really, this comes back down to you. Like, what do you need to do? Let this guy embarrass himself, right? Let him embarrass himself. And I would say maybe to the other teachers, let's freeze this guy out. Mr. Stevens.
It's great for his legend at the school. Like he's a real hard, like a hardo, and he's probably got like the worst passing percentage of kids in his class, and it's just the way it is. He's probably tenured, and he also has this thing where he completely embarrasses himself at the basketball game every year. Like it's great to have a legend like that in your school, like a crazy woodshop teacher. It's like this is great. This makes your school unique. And if you don't like him personally, totally like lose the game while he's trying so hard. That would be he'll have trouble with that forever. If you do like him, I don't know, maybe try a little bit, but
throwing the
this is super low
game.
stake. Yeah. Is it even throwing the game when you're playing against sixth graders, or
Yeah.
is it using the proper amount of effort? I don't know.
Yeah, like if they were high school
Yeah.
and
They're probably a
knowing
little
that,
meaner.
yeah, knowing that half the kids are probably shitheads anyway, and you're in there going like, all right, I'm going to box this guy out. I'm going to set some screens here. Like high school, I think it's all on the table because there's probably some pretty good players. And generally, like the high school team should win if they're going up against teachers. Well, the way it worked, I know that I told that story on Hoosiers, but you couldn't be on the team and play in it. So, are you really going to find another? It depends. Like some high schools are just so stacked and it's so
How many
talented.
teachers you got in school,
Right. How many guys are actually like, do you have 8 adult teachers
You
that
got
are
a
going to
bunch
be
of
able to
Stanleys
run
out
up and
there.
down?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I really, that depends on the high school. So I shouldn't just sit here and say, and this isn't even really the question with all of it, but despite your competitive nature, I think you should take great joy in watching this guy embarrass himself the entire time and not be thinking about winning. And if this is your group of sixth graders that you coach, like the other level of what we're talking about here and the relationship that you have with these guys, like it would be funny for them. It would be funny for them to win and beat grownups, because when you're 11, that's really all you're doing here. Like we actually beat grownups, and it doesn't matter if they play or doesn't play. I don't think you have to like take this as a career L if this doesn't work out for you. But again, the other part of this is this guy's going to do whatever he wants. He's not going to listen to anybody. And he's a dick.
I would just have such secondhand embarrassment if we're like getting back on defense, playing against these children, and he's like slapping the floor. Like, I also coach 5th and 6th graders.
You do?
Didn't know that.
They're not great.
God.
Didn't know that.
All
Coach
they want to
Oregon.
do is take threes. None of them can make a three. Our final scores of the games was like 25-20.
Is it coaching?
You know?
Is it your system?
The system, we won the championship, so
Oh,
I don't, you tell me.
Averaging 20. All right.
Our best player fouled out. The other team wasn't keeping track of the fouls, but I was. So they came over and they're like, how many fouls does he have? I was like, oh, he still has 5. So we're still good, right? They asked like 4 times. Kept him in the game, though.
6 foul league?
Yeah.
Physical. It's like the Big East.
They foul on every play. You want to stay him in. Yeah. This was rec, though. So if this is like a travel 5th, 6th grade, they're probably a good bit better, but still, I don't know how you're throwing this game.
I've been thinking like if the things shook out differently and Ryan was a tenured global history teacher,
Mhm.
9th grade, and it's the high school game. I was trying to think what that would look like. Do you think you try to
If it
find
was
a
high
balance?
school, if it were high school kids, I would go
But let's say
as
you're
hard as I
global history.
possibly
So
could.
most of your students are 9th grade. Let's just say that.
Why am I doing intro?
Well, it's global history. I don't know. Would you be more interested in U.S. history? I feel like you're a learned guy. You go to Iceland and other places.
Is the question?
How are you handling this big game that's coming up towards the end of school, right? Spring fling's over. Dudes are ready for summer. This is like the last big hurrah. It's the big game. People are talking about it. I'm just wondering what kind of approach you're taking.
Well, look, if it's high school,
It is high school.
yeah, and I've had the disappointing basketball career that I've had. Yeah, I mean, this is my time.
It's my time. All right.
I mean, there's a stretch of pickup guys from a Boston thing that I played in that still hate my guts. Because I was like, okay, I have to make up for it all now here. And it was like, yeah, we're just trying to get a sweat in, dickhead. 6th grade, I'd like to think I'm in a place or that I would understand, I do really like kids. 6th grade, it's totally different. You
totally
can't,
is.
you be sitting there. I mean, that's the part where you become, if you win, I don't even mean it as like the result of the game, but like if you're trying that hard against 6th graders, I mean, give me a break.
All right.
Global history.
Yeah. You just strike me as a global history guy.
Don't leave anything out. Okay. My wife's brother is a bum, future mooch in the making, 5'8", 82 kilograms, can leg press 600 pounds for 2 reps. I gotta be honest with you, is it worth it to put 600 pounds on the leg press for 2 reps? That's just a lot of maintenance to have to put all those plates on. Like, I know it probably feels great, but I think there's like a maximum number of plates you should be putting on a leg press where it's just like, okay, like just do more reps with less weight than having to do all that stuff, but
Something
look,
to think
man,
about.
yeah. But when I couldn't lift anything, because everybody can probably put on it, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to load up the old leg press today. I'm just asking you how you feel about having to put all the plates back. Like, was it worth it? Because I would say that I think there's a plate number north of it where you're like, this isn't really even worth it anymore. Just something to think about. I have no basketball comp, but I play soccer like the Walmart Kevin De Bruyne. Is it De
This guy's from
Bruyne?
across the pond, right?
Well, the kilograms usually tips off in
that giveaway.
international. It's like global accounting. I can pick out a pass from anywhere. Anyway, I know I mess up that guy's name, but I do love him play. I do love, like, the first time I watched that guy play in a match, I was like, holy shit, like this guy's just very different. So there's appreciation I had for him, even if I haven't had to say his name in such a long time. I think I'm getting it wrong. Sometimes I play it where you should be. Sorry that you didn't make that run. That's on you, not me. Oh, all right. Great passer. Now on to the real issue. My wife's younger brother, he's 20, is somehow morphed into the most basic frat bro imaginable. Even though he swore off fraternities before going to college, he's never had a job, doesn't try in school, and genuinely believes he's too good for any form of effort. I love
20,
that.
though. Keep it in mind.
Yeah.
20.
These people are just not on my level. So I can't be, entry-level job. Above that. He's cruising towards not graduating on time because, surprise, surprise, when you don't work during your summers or try in class, the degree doesn't hand itself to you. He's got the ego of a Fortune 500 CEO and the resume of a guy who thinks grinding means watching YouTube until 3 a.m. Quick aside, I was having dinner the other night and I was listening to a younger guy in finance talk to an older guy in finance, and they were with a big bank because they had mentioned it. And all I could think of all the times older people don't want to listen to younger people, because you're going to run into this in pretty much any field you're in. I cannot imagine older finance guys, then I imagine some listen to this pod, that have done pretty well. Just the scar tissue, the resistance that is built up to the 20-something finance guy that talks all the time. Like, that might be the most dismissive dynamic in the workplace today.
That's a great observation.
Yeah. Because I was listening, and he was, again, I'm not super educated in the world. I was listening to some of the stuff he was saying. And I was just watching the older guy, and I don't think the older guy talked the whole time. And I think he was miserable, but I'm not sure. Okay, back to our guy. He spends his parents' money like he's got direct access to the national treasury, and his girlfriend's money like she's lucky just to be with him. He talks about wanting a wife who stays at home while he provides for the family. But again, the only thing he's provided so far is bad takes and body spray. He's working towards a generic business degree with less direction than a headless chicken. And every time, a lot of analogies here, and every time someone tries to steer him toward reality, he either shuts down or acts personally offended that you'd even suggest he needs to change. So here's the deal. My wife and I are on a good path. We're building real careers, and I'm already worried this guy's going to try and attach himself to our success like a barnacle on a cruise ship. How do you help someone like this not become a total failure when they think they've already made it? How do I make sure we're not stuck hearing the freeloading frat ghost of Christmas future once we get where we're going? I would tell you, look, he's 20. He's not going to listen to anybody. He's going to have to fail on his own. He's going to have to fail on his own multiple times. And it's cool that you want to say something to him. So if you want to feel like you want to sit down with the wife and go, hey, maybe I'm just going to try to take the pass at it one time with this guy and see what happens. I'd also like, if the age gap, if you're still in your 20s, he's, I don't know if he's going to listen to anybody, but these dudes are unreachable, extra syllable in there. I was unreachable for a little stretch for myself. I know that I wanted things. I didn't know how to go about and get them. I had to, as I've talked about this in the past, I had to get to a point where it was like the only way that any of this is ever going to work is if you figure out a way to become relentless and do the stuff on your own. And I had to feel like a huge loser before and see a future of being a loser, a future that scared the shit out of me before I was even like motivated enough to just go, hey, I got to, turn the ship around here. There wasn't a book. There wasn't, again, we didn't have podcasts back then. It wasn't the millions of conversations that my father would have to try to motivate me. It wasn't an older person that I was inspired by. It was none of those things. It was me eventually getting so sick of myself and where I was headed that I had to make some changes. So most people, even though, when I've talked about this a little bit, like you go into a bookstore and there's just a brand new table of all these self-help books. And it's not so much the message, it's the act of buying the book and then thinking the rest of your life is going to be different. And that's why there's always a market for these books and why so many podcasts have done so well. Because you're like, oh, I'm going to listen to this guy. It's like, okay, are you just listening or are you actually like taking anything from it? And so my biggest point or piece of advice to you would be, it's cool you want to say these things, but he's probably still in that unreachable phase of his life. He's delusional. He thinks that him wanting great things is somehow a compliment to the way he sees himself. And again, sometimes delusion when you're younger can be a really powerful thing. I wouldn't even like dismiss people necessarily that are delusional, even if it's annoying to work with delusional people. There's something that I admire a little bit and about being delusional. There's certain things that I had in my past where I was really delusional. I think back, I'm like, I can't even believe like I would think that was even possible, but thank God that I did. But, at 20, like if he were 30, I think it's entirely different. But at 20, you're probably going to be wasting your time.
Yeah, it sounds like this dude is disgusted with this guy. And I was originally thinking in my head, I was just like, we all look back at 20 and we're like, what the hell? But then I was like, you know what? I don't know if we all do that. Like, I think probably a good chunk of people do that. My sister, though, is not one of those people that's going to look back at her time at SUNY Brockport and then Upstate Medical thinking like, man, what the hell was I doing? Wait, she's just not looking at life that way. She's not even really embarrassed about what she did in high school, whereas me is the complete opposite. I'm wondering if we're dealing with someone here who just has no perspective or self-awareness. What they were either like, you have no self-awareness that you were a complete, doofus in your 20s, or you just weren't, and you can't even imagine how someone could go through life that way because you were thinking about all this stuff at 20. So I think it's a little bit of like, worlds colliding and try to remember that. The other thing I was thinking is, why do you think you're going to be on the hook for taking care? Is like, you're saying he's spending his parents' money, so obviously they're around, they're supporting him. Why do you think you and his sister are going to have to? I'm not sure what you think is going to happen. I think you're overthinking a lot of this. I'm not sure how this comes back on you.
that was a big assumption there. I mean, look, he's just sending us an email, right?
Yeah.
So maybe there's different behavior, certain patterns, some of the stuff that he's already worried about because he's around this guy all the time, right? But you're right. I think there is a chance he is overthinking a little bit. Like if you and your wife become successful and you have your careers, that you're gonna. I mean, you could just also tell him to fuck
He's gonna
off.
live in your pool house? Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, in 2020 is when I even started to get my arms around college. Like I wasn't, let alone like what my plan is going forward. It was 20 was like, what's this library all about? And that helped. Like that really helped me. And I enjoyed succeeding in college and getting, good grades in my papers, where before it was just like, when am I done with classes? I think this semester's great. I should be done by 2:00 and we can like get after it. So really around 20 is when I like started viewing college differently and was actually excited to, get feedback on some of the things I was turning in. So, I mean, he might be ready to turn that corner soon. So I don't know, support more than disgust or whatever you're feeling. But I'm getting a lot of reading disgust from his email, but I don't know. It sounds like you guys just had different operating modes and you can't understand how this guy thinks it's the right way. And he won't think that forever, I don't think.
20 is really young. I was such a shithead when I was 20. Just like didn't care about anything. Like didn't take
Fruity
school
was screaming
seriously.
at guys wearing soccer jerseys, like just for fun.
Right. And it's like,
God, look at Fruity.
He'll probably grow out of that. Like, I think you're overthinking this. The money thing is like, if it does become a thing, I feel like it's 20, 30 years down the line. You don't have to worry about that right now, but he'll grow out of this.
Yeah. It sounds like
you live on your own, have like the safety net of college, he'll be fine.
Yeah. It sounds like even just, he probably had a job in college, just the way he's talking. He's like, he spends his parents' money. Cause I'm thinking when I was 20, like I didn't really have a job, we had the whole cigarette thing going on, but that wasn't bringing in more than I needed. So, I was spending my parents' money too. I think a lot of people, but at the same time, a lot of people have, worked 2 jobs. And I'm just like, I can't imagine how you had fun. And they're like, I didn't. I was in school. Just like the wires were just wired differently. So I think just remember that.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty straightforward one because, I mean, again, to recap it, it's cool that you care, but you're going to have stuff that's a much bigger priority, starting your own family, your own professional decisions. You married your wife, not a brother. And for you to sit there and think that, it just becomes, we get a lot of these emails. Oh, what should I do? My friend's about to do this. Oh, I have this roommate that does this. This is somebody from home. Man, I'm just telling you, when you get older, you start realizing like, oh, these are real problems. Like I can't believe I cared about this stuff. Look, that's not like the stuff that you have to worry about when you're 20. It's just, there's so much of it that's so irrelevant, man. And part of it is cool to have some concern about your own path and all that kind of stuff. But I would tell you that the amount of time, it's likely the amount of time that you're going to spend worrying about this is not time that you're going to think back and go, that was time well used. That'll do it for the pod today. Big shout out to Wargon on the men, Coach Wargon. We're going to dig into that.
With a
Don't
stone.
worry, folks.
Come on.
I'm stoned. Yeah.
Playing her.
And then Kyle stepping up and doing his civic duty.
Again.
Because 20-year-old Kyle be like, red envelope? You think that's going to get me? Come on. Urgent? Fucking see you later. I'm going to use this as a bookmark.
It's the best court note I ever got, honestly. It's the best mail I ever got from the court.
See, things are getting better. Things do improve. And Jonathan Frias for putting together on the video side. So, Ryen Russillo podcast on YouTube, on our Spotify app, and of course, part of Ringer Spotify.
They were going to name me Michael Jordan. My dad was like, I don't think he can live up to it. So they named me Michael Jared.